Yeah, we're going there. These are the top 5 features iOS 14 stole from Android. So many people are seeing the new iOS and getting a sense of deja vu. A lot of these amazing new Apple features have been around for a long time on another major phone platform. Let's see the best features iOS 14 stole from Android. Well, not stole, because Android still has them. Copied would be better, but you know, views. Also, don't worry, Apple lovers, I've got some choice words for Google in here as well. Picture-in-picture on the iPhone. What a spectacular idea. I love it. It's been on TVs for a very long time. It's been on Android phones since Android Oreo, which is from the ancient days of 2017. Now, iOS did have picture-in-picture in iOS 9, but that feature was iPad only. iPhones will get it with iOS 14. Does Apple do it better than Google? It sure does. For whatever reason, you cannot resize the video player on Android. Apple thought, what if we gave users a choice to resize the player window? Yeah, good idea. But good news, Android people, if you get Android 11, you should be able to resize that window. It took Google 3 revisions to figure this out. Oh, and that all depends on whether you get Android 11. Shout out to C. Scott Brown at Android Authority. He wrote a story with the headline, iPhone 6s getting iOS 14 is like the Galaxy S6 getting Android 11. Imagine that. So for a lot of Android users, like me, we will never get Android 11 on our current phones. App Clips. It's a weird name, but it's super functional. The idea is if you need an app for a particular thing like parking or a way to order food, you don't need to download the whole app to do what you need to do. Instead, you scan a code or use NFC with your phone. Then you can instantly use a smaller version of the app that gives you the functions you need at the time. You basically skip the pain of finding the app in the store, installing the app, setting up an account, payments, whatever. You're up and running thanks to an app clip that has to be at max 10 megabytes. If you were using 3G wireless, that would take around 11 seconds at a rate of 7.2 megabits per second to get a 10 megabyte file. If you're on LTE, it could take as long as 1 second, assuming an 80 megabit per second rate. Instant apps. Brilliant. Google introduced instant apps in 2016. In a demo, we saw a guy from Google show off pulling up a BuzzFeed tasty recipe in an instant app without having the full app installed. Links from B&H in search could lead to B&H's app. Payment is a breeze because you have Google Pay set up, right? As we all know, Google and developers did a great job implementing this feature, and we all use it every day. The feature was opt-in for web links, otherwise you still had to go to the Play Store, find the app, and then hit the try it option. Brilliant. App Clips will be one of those features that once Google has a good version of it, people will call instant apps the copy. Apple's App Drawer. Sure, Apple calls it an app library, but we all know what it is. You get the ability to hide pages on your home screen. If you want to find your apps, you can look at the app library or search in this snazzy, scrollable alphabetic list. Great idea. That's been on Android forever. This is like when the iPhone got cut and paste in iPhone OS 3.0. Great feature. What took you so long? In iOS 14, you will have the ability to select third-party browsers and email apps as your default. That means if you don't want to use Safari or Apple Mail, you don't have to. When you open up links, you could be opening them up with Brave, Firefox, or Chrome by default. When you're trying to contact someone, you will not have to copy the email address then open up your non-Apple Mail app. Again, choice has been a critical difference between iOS and Android. I applaud Apple for doing this and hope it'll let people also choose their default music, maps, and maybe even assistant apps. What an idea. You know what's coming up? Home screen widgets. Instead of Apple's bizarre implementation of widgets that were on their own screen, iOS 14 finally gives users the ability to pin widgets on a page. That allows you to get more done without having to go into the app and then back out. You can just look at these little tiles of information. Where have I seen that before? Oh, hi Windows Phone. I'm breaking the fourth wall. Android has had widgets from the very beginning in 2008. However, they aren't exactly standardized. That means you can have round widgets, square widgets, rectangular widgets, you know, different shapes. It kind of looked like the widgets that Apple came up with for Dashboard on OS X Tiger. Pour one out for Confabulator. If you remember that, let me know in the comments. However, Apple's new version of widgets in iOS 14 is standardized. there are a limited selection of shapes that would fit in nicely with the familiar home screen of old. Also, the idea of having a swipeable widget area called widget stacks, it's pretty brilliant. So to sum up everything, iOS 14 looks like a great version of my jailbroken iPhone 6. Well done. Did you want to know more about iOS 14? Of course you do. Check out this video. Do you think that Apple was really copying Android? Does it even really matter? If Apple copied Android enough, would you switch? I mean, guaranteed updates for years? Sounds pretty good. I'm Ayaz Akhtar, and this video was not sponsored by any company. True story.